As we are speaking right now, diplomacy is collapsing. Relations between Russia and the United States are about to be over, and the proxy war inside of Syria is escalating to dangerous proportions, which many people are saying could lead to a potential full all-out war between these two super major global powers. Now, we're going to tell you all these important developments and a lot more, why this happened, how it happened. All the sources will be in the description below for you to fact check yourself. But many people don't know this, but the United States and Russia have been involved in a proxy war for over 1 year already. And right now, as we are speaking, with the latest bombing campaigns by both Russia and the United States attacking each other's side directly, we are seeing a brink of a military showdown that's unfolding right now as diplomacy is ending, as both sides are walking away from the table and considering military options against each other. Of course, in the United States, you have seen a rampant increase in propaganda against Russia, with the New York Times launching headlines, with so-called groups launching new reports about their civilian casualties. The New York Times published an article with the gut-wrenching headline saying the children of Aleppo, Syria, trapped in a killing zone. We have seen NATO members, we have seen Western politicians, including Barack Obama, who just moments ago came out and condemned the barbarous Russian and Syrian regime airstrikes in Aleppo. Meanwhile, the United States also conducted airstrikes inside of Syria and a lot of other countries in the Middle East, which killed civilians. We're also backing Saudi Arabia that kills a lot of civilians in Yemen. But that hypocrisy won't ever be pointed out to you as an American mainstream media viewer, but you will hear this here. Obviously, there's also propaganda on the Russian side, also escalating the tensions, escalating the words, and moving away from diplomacy, moving away from talking to each other, and now they're all out in a full-out media information war. Russia is extremely pissed off with the United States, because the United States, a couple days ago, these powers came together and agreed to a ceasefire inside of Aleppo. The United States promised that during the ceasefire, they would be able to take legitimate, quote, moderate rebels and take them away from Al-Qaeda and ISIS and make sure that these legitimate moderate groups won't be fighting alongside of them, won't be working together. The United States failed at this mission, and these groups stayed together because obviously they have a common goal and they have a common interest. Together, they are still radical Islamic terrorists. They are still rebel groups. At the end of this ceasefire, on the 7th day, on September 17th, the United States launched an airstrike inside of Aleppo, bombing Syrian government forces. Syrian government forces that are backed by China and Russia for over 50 minutes as radical Islamic terrorists and ISIS ran an offensive that was able to give them high ground and a strategic military position as the United States acted like the Air Force for ISIS, the very enemy that they were sworn to fight. The United States backed up. They said that this was an outright mistake. The Russians are saying no. There's no way that this was a mistake. This was done on purpose. And the Russian ambassadors are going out and saying the United States coalition not only bombed the Syrian army, but they are defending ISIS. Russians also are saying at the UN Secretary Council that Al-Qaeda is receiving tanks and heavy weapons from the United States coalition, and this has been proven throughout years because it was mainly Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the United States that have been arming and supporting the rebel groups inside of Syria. Many of these weapons, many of the money that was sent from your tax dollars into Syria was given to Al-Qaeda, was given to ISIS, and they ended up with weapons to go against Bashar al-Assad until Russia stepped in and they escalated their bombing campaigns inside of Syria to stop these Western-funded rebel groups. Now, because of this, the Russians are saying that, you know what? We won't agree to diplomatic relations. We won't agree to any kind of future ceasefire because you just screwed us over on this one. And the Russians launched their own military strike, and Russian state media reported that Israeli Mossad agents and other foreign military officers were killed in Aleppo on Tuesday from a Russian military strike. And of course, the Russians answered back a few days ago, and because of this, John Kerry issued an ultimatum to Russia saying, if you don't stop bombing Aleppo now, we're going to suspend all cooperation and diplomacy with Russia. Because of this, they are putting the military option on the table. Russia, of course, rejected John Kerry's demand on Syria, and now they're saying on the global world stage, well, the United States is promoting terrorists and terror, which they have been documented to do so. Of course, now Russians are reinforcing their Syrian air base, and Bashar al-Assad and the Syrian government are assembling 10,000 troops for an final assault on Aleppo, doing exactly what the United States does not want them to do, slapping them in the face and saying, now, what is your next move? Obviously, this is going to be a very dangerous, calculated move by the United States. Stay tuned on this YouTube channel to find out what they do, because this is an extremely dangerous situation unfolding right in front of our very eyes. There's propaganda on either sides of this. But what we know for sure is with diplomacy collapsing, peace is looking like it will never happen inside of Syria. Stay tuned to this YouTube channel. We're going to keep you updated on everything that's happening geopolitically, internationally. You won't hear this on the mainstream media because we are funded by you and for you. Go to patreon.com/wearechange. Donating $1 a month means the world to us, keeps us fully independent, unfiltered, and being able to do the job that we're doing right now, all because of you. Thank you again so much for watching. Subscribe. We're going to have a lot more coming here your way on youtube.com/wearechange.